What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Casual Big Ten podcast. Today is Thursday, July 27th, 2023. And on today's show, it's the final team. Makes me kind of sad, actually, but some say that you have to save the best for last, and that's just what we did. I'm going to just come out and say it. Northwestern, nobody's had more going on this offseason than the Northwestern Wildcats. I think everybody knows the news by now, but had my buddy Tommy Hook come through. He came to the house. He actually, man, we talked about it on the interview, so I'll let him explain it. But I'll let him explain it, and then I'm going to explain it. We did 2 episodes because we recorded like a month ago, and then obviously some things changed. We found out that we live really close to each other, so the second episode we did, he came over to the house and we recorded and basically just talked about the coaching situation. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you that part of the interview first, the exciting stuff, and then I'm going to crop out some of the stuff that we talked about in the first interview and then put in about 10 minutes of just football talk at the end of this podcast so that you can still listen to that if you're a big Northwestern fan and you want to hear about the actual football stuff. Great show. Tommy is awesome. I just was looking. Tommy, if you're listening to this, I still have your hat. I'm not going to text him. I'm going to wait and see if he listens to this. You left your hat over here, man. I think he took it off for the show. I just found it in my office a minute ago. But Tommy was such a fun time, man, and this is the interview that I had with him, the first. And then I'll play the second. And then we'll not play the third. I'll have him on a third time. But I don't have a third one yet. We'll just play the first and second for right now. Hope you guys enjoy this interview. All right, joining me now is Tommy, a.k.a. Thomas Hook. If you're watching on YouTube, his Twitter handle is on the screen. He's live in the one-person studio. We brought in 2 chairs. Tommy, what's up, brother?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, nothing.
Well, so we the last time we talked, we've been talking a little bit since the last time we recorded.
Yes, of course.
But the last time we recorded a podcast, I was a little bit optimistic about Northwestern football. And I'm not as optimistic as I was 2 weeks ago.
What happened?
Some things happened. We lost a couple recruits, nothing big. We lost a couple decommits. I'm a little bit less enthusiastic about where the program is today for that reason.
I had this whole idea where I was like going to just pretend like I had no clue what happened with the coach, with Pat.
Right.
Mr.
Right.
Fitzgerald.
Oh,
you
that's
can't
right.
call him Coach Fitzgerald anymore.
That's right.
He's just Mr. Fitzgerald.
He will always be Coach Fitzgerald to me. 17 seasons at the helm. I think it was 4 or 5 seasons as an assistant coach before, while an assistant coach under Randy Walker, before Randy Walker ultimately passed away, and then obviously probably arguably the most legendary Northwestern Wildcat football player in history. So he will always be Coach Fitzgerald to me. And I met him one time, too, twice, actually, so I got a personal connection to him.
I did see the picture on Twitter. That was a dope picture, man.
Yeah.
Did he say anything cool to you?
Yeah. He gave me his number. And,
let's call him.
I'm not going to call him right now.
That'd be sick, though.
He actually, so when I used to work at the Chicago White Sox, I started Northwestern University night, and the first thing I did was when we came to terms with Northwestern and at university and with the White Sox, I said, I'm not doing the night unless Fitz throws out the first pitch. And he ended up coming with his family. We got him some customized jerseys and put him in a suite. And coincidentally, that same night, Tommy Hammock, the head coach of Northern Illinois football, was actually set up coincidentally in the suite next to him. So I'm bringing Fitz up to his suite. I'm sweating my balls off. It was like August. I'm running his family from the WGN studio doing a radio interview. He's on TV.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he's popping out of the hallway talking with Tommy Hammock, and I'm in there having a college football conversation with the two of them. And I had everything in common with them, having gone to Northern Illinois and having been the biggest Northwestern fan. So it was really cool. I got Coach Fitz and Tommy Hammock's phone number that night, and it was pretty sweet.
All right, we're not going to call him right now, but after we're done recording, let's give him
after,
a FaceTime.
Yes, after a couple drinks, we will do that.
All right, let's bring it back. Let's reel it back in for just a second. All right, you kind of mentioned this. We did record an entire episode already.
We did.
It was before, obviously, Coach Pat Fitzgerald got fired.
Right.
We're going to dive into that in just a second. I wanted to re-record with you, and this is the crazy thing. People might be wondering, why are we right next to each other? Well, It's because we met on Twitter.
Yep.
Which is where I meet some of my best friends, but I usually don't meet them.
Right.
I usually just Twitter fingers with them. You live in the same city as me. You live 8 minutes away from me.
That's right. So
we didn't find that out until we recorded.
Until we're getting ready to record. So how this plays out, we are talking about Ryan. It started with we're talking about why Ryan Helinski isn't likely going to play this year. I'm like, he tore his ACL. You're like, well,
and I had no idea.
Who are you, dude?
Yeah.
I didn't even follow you. You didn't follow me. Next thing you know, we're talking about Big Ten football and Big Ten sports in general. And you asked me what my if I had any further knowledge on Northwestern. I said I would love to talk about it. And we get ready to record. I'm like, hey, dude, where are you from? What's your name?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Wild.
And you're like, I live in outside Nashville. Oh, me too. Where at? Franco. Well, you and I live 8 minutes away.
People are really going to narrow
8
down
minutes
where
away.
I live. If I piss anybody off, they're going to be like, I know where to find this guy now.
Or me. I mean, I'm going to have some
That's true.
hot takes today.
Dude, we'll be down here
Hot
ready.
takes.
We'll be down here ready.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about this, man. There's no reason to waste any more time. There's the man. I tweeted out today that there was a guy. You getting emotional over there?
I've been emotional the last week.
That's tough.
I don't want to talk to anybody really, except
No,
for
I
this,
understand. I understand.
It's been 6 days since that everything came out. So
yeah. All right. So I tweeted this out the other day. Someone that I follow on Twitter said that they put out brand new standings.
Yep.
They said that Northwestern is going to be 0-12. I said, wait a minute. Here's what's going to happen. Galvanized by the firing of their head coach, Northwestern rallies. They win 11 games, beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, go to the playoffs. The movie title, Pat's Cats.
Pat's Cats. I love that movie. It's a fictitious movie, right?
No, this is going to happen.
It's a science fiction movie.
Can I say this is what I'm cheering for?
Yeah, you can say that.
Absolutely.
But I don't know what I'm cheering for right now. I had a tough time. I'm not joking. I had a tough time. So I was getting ready to come over here. I'm like, what do I wear? Do I just, because I got some feelings towards my Wildcats right now. Not necessarily the players or anything like that, or the team per se. But I don't know if I wanted to represent the university today. But you know what I said? I'm like, you know what? I'm like, those kids on that team right now are going through the hardest thing that they've probably ever gone through.
No doubt.
Like in their lives, being in the spotlight, getting asked questions from their family, their friends, their coaches, their former teammates. And they're in the news nonstop as being these guys who have been accused of some pretty crazy shit. And quite frankly, it's like, that made me actually want to wear the shirt, because I'm like, you know what? Like, regardless of the inaction of the athletic director, Derek Gregg, and regardless of the reaction and the second reaction from Michael Schill, the president of the university, I'm going to root for my guys that have been there for 4 years or been there for 5 years, or in some cases, like Charlie Mangieri, tight end, who's been very outspoken about this whole thing, has been there for 6 years. Guy's going to come out like a doctor or something, like, and probably be like way, way more, successful than myself. And I'm going to root for that guy because he's put in more blood, sweat, and tears than I certainly have sitting in section 117 with my season tickets.
Absolutely. I think I'm more excited about the season this year now, because you come off the 1-win season last year. We talked about this when we recorded before,
Yep.
and I might pull some clips from the previous podcast. I think there's still some things that we recorded that are relevant.
Yeah.
We talked about some transfer portal guys. I want to skip over all that today because I want to go back downstairs and keep drinking with you.
Me too.
But I do want to talk about Pat, though. You're very well connected in the community, I think. It's casual Big Ten. I texted you this the other day. I'm not trying to get anybody's name out there. I'm not trying to, who got you,
right?
Who's this, who's that. I want to know what's really happening without names, though.
Yep. No names. That's fine. I mean, there's no need to start name calling and whatever's happened's already happened, by the way.
Absolutely.
So there's no need to like sit over there and finger point and crucify anyone. The damage to the university has been done. You mean no name calling like players, correct?
I'm not looking for sources is what I'm saying.
Right.
I know that you are, like I said, you're very well connected.
Yeah.
You talk to guys. Yep. You've talked to people within the community.
Yeah.
And the thing about me personally, I've been reading the stories at a very surface level.
Yep.
I know what's happened barely.
Yep.
What I want to know, though, is from someone who's in the community, who's involved in it, who cares about it.
Yep.
Not that I don't care about it, but I'm not a Northwestern fan.
Right.
I do want to know exactly what actually happened. Instead of hearing all these rumors, I'll give you an example real quick. May I?
Yeah, no, let's hear it.
Tomorrow on the show, I have from Eyes on Big Ten podcast.
Yeah.
His name is Jeffrey the Greek.
Okay.
He's coming on the show tomorrow, right after your show.
Okay.
They were putting out I don't want to call it a conspiracy, but it was basically they were saying 1-win season last year. Someone in the athletic department said, we need Pat to go.
Yep.
Pat said, piss off.
Yep.
I'm owed too much money.
Yep.
And they said, investigation
$57
launched.
million over the next whatever it is.
I didn't know it was that much.
Well, I think it's 40. I don't want to butcher this. I think maybe 47 over the next 7. His contract.
Double-digit millions.
Yeah, right. And his contract is up in the year 2030.
Okay. So they're saying if we fire him without cause,
right,
we got to pay him.
Right.
Let's launch this investigation. These are the kind of conspiracies, quote unquote, that I'm hearing.
Yep.
And again, I'm not saying Jeffrey. I'm excited you're coming on the show, brother. We're going to talk about this some more. Yeah.
What's up, Jeffrey?
But I don't, there's no factual information behind that. And I think that you have some more information that might shed some light on what actually happened. Can you share that?
Yeah. I'll share that. And I'm going to be a little bit emotional and kind of uncut on it. So now, by the way, I just want to start this off by saying the feeling outside of Northwestern from fans that have never watched a team are completely back in the decision of the firing of Fitzgerald. I would say almost unanimously. In the Wildcat community, I would think, and I don't want to generalize. I didn't mean to generalize. In the
I do not support the decision, but I'll come out and say it right now. I don't care.
In the Wildcat community, again, I've run some polls on our rival site, trying to get a gauge of it. I'd say it's anywhere from 60% do not support it, maybe to 70% do not support it, to between 30 and 40% do support the firing. The kicker is, did they support firing him last year?
I actually, and before I go any further, I just want to say there's no ventilation in this room. Me and Tommy are about to start sweating our balls off.
Take my shirt off. Things are going to get real crispy in here.
I actually would be more on board if they said we're firing you because you lost 11 games last year. I'd be more supportive of that.
So would I.
Other than and I don't want to, because I don't know all the facts. Like I said.
Yep.
If some things come out in the next few weeks, we're recording on, what is it? It's July 13th right now. There's no new coach.
I think there's some things that are
there might be some things come out, and I might change my mind. But as of right now, July 13th, I think it's bullshit that he got fired.
Yep.
I think that what they have right now isn't a fireable offense.
Yep.
I think it's more fireable to win one game last year.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So as far as I understand, I'm going to try to lay out a timeline for you of what's happened to Northwestern football over the last 7 months, 8 months. All right. So
let's make it quick, though.
Let's make it quick. November 19th.
Oh, you got the dates.
November 19th, Northwestern plays Carl Richardson, who is a whistleblower now that we find out, decides to he suits up for the game. Not only he was supposed to be he's third on the depth chart. He's passed over by preferred walk-on Cole Freeman, and does not play that game. The following week, November 26th, Cole Freeman, again preferred walk-on, plays that game. Things were going well at halftime. Northwestern starts true freshman Jack Lausch, who was like a Chicago legend. Malik Washington, a wide receiver that transfers out to Virginia, throws more passes than Carl Richardson. Again, that was on the 26th of November. On the 30th of November, an anonymous complaint comes in, later to be Carl Richardson, to the athletic department, not to the coach. No complaints to the coach. Basically accusing the Pat Fitzgerald of being complacent in locker room sexual violence, whatever you want to call it.
And then racism later.
Racism later by the same player who also has a history of tweets acknowledging and thanking Fitzgerald for all the help that he's done for him, and actually even saying, thanking him for what he's done for his family.
I heard about that tweet.
Yeah. Yep. And so we move forward. A 6 month long third party investigation ensues. The investigation finds that the hazing incidents were possibly most likely happened. Again, the definition of hazing, that's for you and I to determine and for you to determine. And then from there, in that private investigation, in that third party investigation, 50 players were interviewed and almost interrogated at this point based on how the media is treating everyone. One other player even somewhat corroborated what was going on in the locker room as hazing. So
Do you know who that is?
I don't know who the corroborating player is. However, I
Put
do
some names out there for these players.
I know. I do know.
Put your
However,
name
you
on
know
it.
what? I do know this, and this is not widespread, but people do know. I mean, Carl Richardson is a rat, and there's a lot more. He was not affected. He was certainly not. He was not affected traumatically by hazing. He didn't play. He was a late commit out of Salinas, California, Salinas High School, California. Committed, was supposed to, had grades, third, fourth round, fifth round draft grades via 24/7 Sports out of high school. Had a lot on his plate. Never played. Was passed over by freshmen and walk-ons. And instead of actually doing anything about it or just transferring out and moving on with a Northwestern degree, he decided to burn it down. And that is essentially what happened. Fitzgerald was granted a two-week long suspension during the dead period, meaning this investigation came out a few weeks ago. The university knew when they were going to suspend him during that dead period. And instead of standing up and releasing the report and saying, we're standing by this, they instead decided to let the Twitter public opinion, mob, which happens to everyone, determine what the actual discipline was going to be, and that was firing. So now that coach, who has been around the Northwestern program longer than I've been alive, is now gone because of one player.
So a couple of things that you brought up that I found interesting while you were talking. We didn't even talk about this much before we started.
No, we
recording.
didn't.
This is fun.
You held it in because
you
wanted to talk about it
fun,
now,
dude.
and you got me fired up.
This is fucking fun. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
Couple things that you just brought up that I wasn't thinking about before. Why not just transfer?
Why not just transfer? Why not be? Being a very mediocre Division I player myself, not football, by the way. I'm way too scrawny to do that. Now I'm too fat. So either way,
I was gonna say you're yoked now,
what
dude.
what you would do?
I wouldn't say fat. You're yoked now. Look at this guy, dude.
What you would typically do if you were a disgruntled player and had issues, you would speak with your coach and see where that conversation went. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Things are going to change or things are not going to change. If you look, I had to mute the words Fitzgerald and hazing on my Twitter account because I can't do it anymore for my mental health, right? And if you have he is about as candid and truthful as possible. If you have a conversation with that person, he will tell you straight up, hey, Carl, or hey, Tommy, I don't see you fitting in this program. I don't think you're a great fit here. I will help you find somewhere else to play. Yeah. That's how he is. And to think that, again, being someone who's been in a locker room a third of the size of a football team, I can tell you what, there are things that happen in locker rooms. I know no one wants to acknowledge this. Everyone wants to think that locker rooms are like going into the office for a 9-to-5 job. It's not. Dudes are around each other for 70, 80 hours a week, and they have a couple hours to hang around in the locker room, and they do a lot of dumb things. A lot of dumb things. Not criminal. I'm not saying that players are performing criminal acts or doing anything, but that like things that were accused, for example. But what I can say is that things go down, and for firsthand experience, when you see, there's a line that no one can draw. It's not a black or white. There's a line that no one can draw, but it's drawn whenever you see that happen.
Yeah.
And I could tell you from the character guys that fits recruits and the character guys that fits coaches that whatever Carl Richardson was accusing, again, whatever we're going to pass over the fact that 98 other players are being accused of this.
Yeah.
These poor kids.
Yeah.
And no one wants to talk about them. They want to talk about this one kid because it grabs headlines, and you can kick Fitz out of there because he's some old dinosaur who happens to just be 47 years old.
And owed a bunch of money.
And is owed 7 years and $40+ million. Sorry if I
don't no. I think that's the way
definitely.
I think that has to be part of the story is how much money he's owed, and that is part of the story.
Yep.
Another part of the story though is that it just was announced this week, and again, we're recording on July 13th.
Yeah.
So there's going to be information that comes out by the time this comes out.
Big Ten Media Day.
It's coming up.
It's coming up. That's going to be.
I didn't get invited.
What's going to happen?
I didn't apply either though.
But you should.
I
should
be
have been invited. Yeah, you shouldn't have
invited
to
at
reach
this
out,
point.
bro.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
BS.
Yeah, I should be offer only on that.
That's not Kevin Warren anymore. Who is that?
I don't even know. You
Kevin-
talking about the president?
Yeah, no, the commissioner of the Big Ten, Kevin Warren. I think he's the president of operations for the Bears. If you're watching this, please give my boy a call and make another phone call and get him in, would you?
Offer only.
Well, go ahead.
I'm only going to media day if they ask me.
Yeah, right. You're holding out.
I'm actually going to be on vacation. I can't go. I was going to
But
apply.
but next year.
Next year, I'll same vacation every year, same time.
Right. Well, a few years down the line. Then.
Yeah. Well, if they offer.
Right. Well, it's here. No. What was your?
I was going to say. A lot of things are coming up, but what just came out this week though that I found very surprising, especially someone who's. I didn't play college football.
Yep.
I played high school football at a very big school.
Yep.
A couple things I want to say right now that I'm not going to say, but first of all, none of the things that I read about were overly shocking to me.
None.
Okay, I've said that. All right, second thing. My head coach in high school, again, very big high school that I went to, 100+ kids on the team.
Yep.
He didn't know what was going on in the locker room. The assistant coaches did. And what I have a problem with right now, and I don't want to get on a soapbox and go crazy, but how are the assistant coaches retaining their jobs, but the main guy isn't, when the assistant coaches are the ones that have a better understanding of what's happening in the locker room? Can you explain that to me?
Yeah. So in other words, no, I can't, because if you're going to be the AKA the president, Michael Schill, or the AD, Derek Gregg, again, no one knows who's making the call over there. No one knows if
the president's relatively new, correct?
Yeah, he came in. He's not even a year in. He came from Oregon, I believe, but he's not even a year in. So, and his first big move was to fire Pat Fitzgerald. By the way, insane.
And then the baseball coach.
And then the baseball Jim Foster. I don't know, but
we won't get into that.
I read some crazy stuff there too, but whatever. But the point is this: if you're going to be like, hey, we will not tolerate this at all. And anybody who, even if they didn't know about it, even if they didn't have a clue or one iota, but that's still their fault that they didn't have a clue, then why are people who were around during that still employed? And the excuse, well, it's 60 days to game day.
Also, hold on. How are you going to retain someone when you're going to hire a new head coach who's probably going to bring in his own guys anyways?
Well, that's the thing. And now they're saying that
Ed Ogeron's going to bring in his own guys.
yeah. I wish.
Dude, if Ed Ogeron gets hired, it's going to be
back on board.
It's going to be one of the best days. Dude, I'm so freaking.
I don't know who would. I don't know what would happen in Evanston. It'd be nuts. But they got David. Go Cats, baby. They have you clip that, by the way. That was pretty good. Go Cats, baby. They have David Braun. David Braun was brought in. He's a first year D1 Division I defensive coordinator. Brought in from FCS, North Dakota State. He was hired in February, came on. Now, you would think like, hey, we're going to put all of our eggs in one basket. He's going to be our interim head coach for this year. Let's see what happens. No, they come out and they're like, hey, you know what, David Braun, I know you just got tossed into the shitstorm. You come from a FCS powerhouse, where he's getting the cream
Which
of the
one?
crop.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
North Dakota State.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, the Bison. I believe.
Josh Allen?
No, that's Wyoming.
Who went to North Dakota State?
Trey
I'll
Lance.
look it up. You
Trey
keep
Lance.
talking.
Trey Lance.
Oh, it's Trey Lance. Okay.
Trey Lance and Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz is
Yep.
who I was thinking of.
Yep. And but anyways, now he's serving as some liaison, some term that no one's ever heard. The day-to-day liaison of the Division I.
I've heard that term
Wildcats.
before.
Not in football for me. And anyways, these guys are in just such a bad spot. Their defensive line coach is a first-year Division I football coach. Their wide receiver coach Armand Benz is a first-year Division I football coach. The only way I see out of this is if all of the players rally around and just say, Michael Schill, buddy, you're a spineless coward, pal. I don't want to see you around the stadium. Why don't you go stick around the Medill Journalism School and work with the Daily Northwestern some more and have people feed you stories? Or Derek Gregg, I know you just had to cut your vacation short, pal. But we don't want to see you either. Why don't you go spend some more time at the women's lacrosse? No offense, they're really good, so I'm not bashing them. But go spend some time elsewhere and let the football team do what they're going to do. And at the end of the year, they can all leave and with a big FU, and maybe they can go bowling. I don't know.
Dude, I don't
know. I mean, just win some football
Make
games
me a promise
in
real quick.
spite of everyone else.
Make me a promise.
Yeah.
If they make a bowl game,
I will go. So I've gone to
we're going together.
plenty of Northwestern. The last actually Northwestern bowl game I went to was it was the Outback Bowl when Alvin Kamara, Josh Dobbs, Tennessee go down and they play Northwestern and they won like 56-6.
I'll get media passes.
That sounds good.
Offer only though, Northwestern.
Sounds good to me.
I need the media
good to me.
pass.
Hey.
All right, now listen.
Yeah.
All right. I really only wanted to record for a couple minutes.
I'm sorry. How long has it been?
Dude, it's been 25 minutes.
That's not
All right,
bad.
no, that's not bad.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
There is a lot to talk about, but anything I'll let you do your. That was a pretty great final thought. Is there anything else that you needed to say about the situation?
All right. So there's a line in the sand now. There is not there are two sides of the argument. There's not this should not be a one side or another side thing. I'm looking at the facts. Pat Fitzgerald's coached for 17 years. 25-ish guys per recruiting class. This guy's coached 500 to 600 guys in his career.
Yeah.
With transfers. You have 10 guys that are coming out now when the guy's just you know who he is? He's that little dog who's in that little room and this is fine meme. Yeah. And the fire's around him. That's who he is. And the fire are players that respected and used Fitz for everything that they have and all the good things in their life. That's the fire. They come out of the woodwork to all of a sudden start saying, that guy right there is the issue. That he's the reason why I suck. He's the reason why I don't play. Northwestern's, and the fact that the administration has the stones to to double down, actually more than double down, to take their 2-week suspension of that guy and say, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to fire you
that's the crazy part
not a single plan, not a plan. We
Part.
don't even have a. And they're not going to get a head start on.
No, the plan is we're going to keep the assistant coaches, and then we're going to hire a single guy that's not going to bring anyone in.
Right.
We already got the assistant coaches for you.
Right.
That's
they're talking about hiring. Go hire David Shaw. Go hire David Shaw, guys. It's a joke.
That actually, I feel like that's not the worst.
It is because Stanford sucks too. This is a casual Big Ten bye. I don't want to talk about Stanford.
All right, last question about the coaching thing.
Yep.
Who do you want then? It's over now. He's already gone.
Wow.
You got to find somebody.
Northwestern.
And I was Googling available coaches.
Yeah. Wow.
It's thin out there. I feel like at this point,
it's thin, but there are guys out there that haven't coached in a little while. I've seen Bob Stoops floated around in the XFL, which I don't know how that would work. Jim Leonard former interim head coach with
I love
Wisconsin, was
He's
there was,
somewhere though, isn't he?
No, I don't think he's coach.
I'm gonna look it up.
Might
You
be a
keep talking.
defensive coordinator. I'm sorry, but he was not
I think he
being.
went somewhere.
He was. There was some stipulation that he would possibly be looked at as a defensive coordinator for Northwestern. Makes a good idea. And then my number one pick is Mike Kafka. Mike Kafka, the Giants, the New York Giants offensive coordinator. Where's he at?
It doesn't say. It just says interim.
Yeah,
Dude,
see,
you're right.
I don't think he's coaching right now,
So
which is bizarre. But
that's
my-
shocking to me because if you go back last year, before I had microphones,
Yeah.
I just had my phone
Yeah,
and I was doing podcasts.
Mhm.
Excuse me, that's a lot of beer that we just drank.
I know. I'm burping.
I was on Jim Leonard to get the job at Wisconsin.
Right. Well,
And
why
now,
not? I mean,
obviously-
it worked out. I mean,
It's tough.
It's a good hire.
Jim, I loved you, brother.
Yeah.
But they got it. Somebody better. They did get somebody
Yep.
better.
I agree. And
But I love Jim Leonard though.
yeah. But I will say
that'd be great. That's a great hire.
that, and then the dark horse, which I don't know how they'll prime away from the New York Giants, but it's Mike Kafka, former quarterbacks coach for Pat Mahomes, turned Danny Dimes around in the New York Giants organization last year. Went
But-
to Northwestern.
Let's keep in mind though. Go Cats.
Go Cats! Ed Orgeron. Ed Orgeron,
All right.
baby.
I had a couple other things to talk about, but we already recorded. I had Ben Bryant on there. You get one word to describe how excited you are about Ben Bryant.
2 words. Not very now. 3 words.
I'm still excited about him. He's got AJ Henning, dude.
Yeah, well, they're all
Your
tweeting.
microphone,
They're all
your
tweeting.
microphone.
They're all tweeting now. They're all tweeting. They're all pissed. I don't even know who's going to be on the team. Okay, Ben Bryant's a good player. He's a Chicagoland kid. So is AJ Henning. I actually
This is way
saw
more
him
than
play.
one word, by the way.
Going on a paragraph now.
I like messing with you while you're
Yeah,
talking.
now I'm excited. Excited. There you go.
All right, here we go. I got you excited.
Yeah.
I accidentally already hit the next slide. Do you even care to talk about the record? Here's my thing. Okay, the over under in Vegas was set at 3.5 originally.
Yeah, that was going to be bogus. That was going to be a bogus line. I
Why? Because it was gonna be way over. You're saying?
Yeah, I don't see how they weren't going to go bowling.
I disagree. I think that now you hit the over.
Well,
Everyone's
now the over is going to be at 2.5.
and that's
Yeah.
when you slam it.
Yeah. I'm still going to.
I might go-
I'm a sucker. I have no life, and I love Northwestern. Still.
I think you go alternate line over 4.5. Let's win 5
You're
games.
talking 5 and 7, baby. All right, let's see.
Let's win 5 games. Look.
All right, Piscataway.
Win.
Rutgers stinks. Win. UTEP. You like UTEP to win that game
do
because they
like
have cool jerseys. They have cool jerseys. They have cool jerseys.
That's an L.
UTEP. W, baby.
No, that's an L.
At Duke, automatic loss. Minnesota, that's a loss now.
Win.
You like PJ Fleck.
I don't. No, I don't.
Penn State, Drew Aller, right?
Oh, Penn State's gonna crush you guys.
Penn State's
I hate
good.
to hate
Penn
it.
State
I
is
hate to
very
say it.
good this year.
Howard's
So they're
automatic.
2 and
That's
3.
two.
So they're 3 and 3 entering Nebraska. They get
Okay, we'll
they
take
get
3
they
and
get
3.
beat up in Nebraska. They're 3 and 4. Maryland, Talua or whatever his name is, throws for 400 yards. They're 3 and 5. Get beat by Iowa. 3 and 6. Get beat by Wisconsin. 3 and 7. They
Purdue,
beat
you can
Purdue.
win that.
They beat Purdue.
There's 4.
4.
Then you're finishing the season with a win at Illinois.
That's right, baby. We're taking
5
the
and 7.
hat. We're taking the hat. We're taking the hat. The Abe Lincoln Cup, baby. Let's go.
This might be the only team that I'm going the opposite of what everyone's saying because of the wrong reasons.
Well, it's like, again, if you put a bunch of dogs against against the wall,
Yeah.
again, things have to click very right. But if enough dudes are pissed off enough,
Yeah.
who knows what happens? Let's do the podcast for a 3rd, 4th, and ultimately 5th time.
You know what would
before
be
the
funny?
season.
You know what would be funny?
What?
Is if we just sat here and we went, Northwestern's going to win 1 game, and then you agreed with me, and then we went, Northwestern's going to win 2
games.
And then no matter what, we have the clip.
Right, we have the clip. No matter what, I will say. So what's? I'm not a big math guy, but if we have 12
Yeah.
teams by 2 different scenarios, I can't do it's a lot of different scenarios. It's like doing the phone lock.
But
like
if we
how
just
many-
go 1 through 12, though, there's only 12.
right,
If we just say wins.
but I want to predict each one. So if we do this for the next 100 days, we should be able to get it.
Yeah, I think we'll nail it.
We'll get it.
It's 12 times 12.
Yeah, 124.
No.
144. My bad.
Is that how it works?
it's
But I think it's
144.
12 times 12.
It is.
Dude, I'm
12
not.
different scenarios.
You think you're bad at math?
144. I don't know.
I hope my math teacher's not watching. All right. His name is Tommy Hook.
See you guys.
I might put some clips from the original. You know what I should do? I don't. Let's just can that episode. Somebody wants that? Patreon.
That's right.
I don't have one.
But if somebody does, though, if
somebody wants it, they have to start a Patreon for me.
that's fine.
And then give me the
ask
money.
for it, and then give you money, and then I get half.
Totally.
Deal. You hear that?
I will sell the original episode before Pat Fitzgerald got fired.
There's
for
so
how
much good stuff in there, bro.
$100. If we get 50 bucks each,
dude. How much is a case of Miller Lite?
Tommy, my guy.
Later, brother. Thanks
Dude,
for having
this
me.
was
Hey,
awesome,
this place
man.
is sick, man. This place is sick.
Tell these people.
This
I
place
built
is
this
sick,
shit,
man.
dude.
He's got
Tell
built,
these people.
He built the desk. He's got all these.
Tell these people.
He's got a desktop. He's got some sideways monitors. He's got a ring light. Is that what
I'm
you
doing
call
it.
that?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
And then he's got he's got all this memorabilia.
I got it going on, man.
This is sweet.
All right.
This is a blast. We'll be back.
We'll do this again.
Yeah,
We're doing
this
this
is
mid-season,
dope.
no
This is
doubt.
dope.
We're doing
This
this
is dope.
mid-season.
Take
We're gonna watch
take
some
care,
games.
guys.
All right, peace. All right, we're going to pause for just a second here. That was the first interview. I'm going to play. I didn't even ask Tommy about this, but I think he's okay with it. I'm going to play a little bit from our first interview that we actually recorded where we talked about some actual football stuff. Drop that in right here, and then we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Let's start with the negative, though. Is there anybody that you guys lost that you're like kind of wishing, man, I wish we still had this guy for next year?
Yeah, so there are two guys. I think we lost 5 or 6 guys to the portal, which even in the era of transfer portal and NIL and shit like that, Northwestern has always had a very good job of retaining the talent that they have on their team. Always. There are some anomalies, and they'll lose some guys that are just maybe not good culture fits or academic fits, right? They go to engineering school and they're like, what did I mean, I couldn't go to Northwestern. I'd be screwed. Right. That's why I went to Northern Illinois. My dad went to Northwestern. But they lost AJ Hampton, who was opposite of Cam Mitchell, who was just drafted in the 5th round, I think, to the Browns with fellow teammate Greg Newsome. I think it was the 5th round. And then they also lost their leading receiver, Malik Washington, to Virginia. Malik Washington was kind of like throughout the year, kind of like that guy that AJ Henning-esque, 5'10", 5'9", $180, ran a ton of he's a tough receiver, ran a lot of routes over the middle of the field. It was kind of a safety net. He was basically the only other guy other than Donnie Navarro, who was a grad transfer from Illinois last year, that had any sort of idea of how to get open offensively for the Cats. So those two guys are really the big losses, with exception to the guys that got drafted, which there were a few actually. Yeah.
So on the flip side of that, though, obviously a huge offseason, like we said.
Huge.
You get Ben Bryant from Cincinnati. We're going to talk about him when we talk about the season in just a minute. AJ Henning from Michigan. Anybody else? Anybody else besides those two guys that are coming in that we can circle and say, man, this is really going to change the team next year?
Yeah, I mean, AJ Henning is going to be very important, and we'll get into it. I know, talking about the running back depth and who's going to be receiving carries back there. With some uncertainties there, but I mean, AJ Henning, I think, has 2 years left of eligibility. Ben Bryant, and funny story, I didn't know that Ben Bryant, there was a video posted by Next Level Athletics, which is like a 7-on-7 like camp, and they an account on Twitter, and they posted a video of Ben Bryant throwing to AJ Henning, and I asked the question, like, is this the first time they've trained? And they're like, oh no, they've trained for the last 3 years.
Oh,
so AJ Henning and Ben Bryant have been training together for the last 3 years. So I'm very, very excited for that. But Northwestern also poked their head in the transfer portal for Cam Johnson,
Okay.
who you may remember. He was a 4-year letter winner at Vanderbilt,
Okay.
receiver, 6'1", about a buck 90. And then he transferred to Arizona State. With the disaster that is Arizona State football right now, he then transferred into Northwestern. So Northwestern received they picked Ben Bryant, AJ Henning, and then Cam Johnson. So they're gonna be a very, very different looking offense than they were last year.
Yeah.
And then defensively, their Northwestern was very weak up front. They were getting bossed around. I think they were last in yards or for tackles for loss um, in the entire Power Five.
Oh, I did not
Um,
know that. Wow.
yep, and they were third overall in turnover ratio, and that's for offensive and defensive combined. So
Yeah.
they needed to get bigger. They needed to get stronger and force more turnovers. And they got. I'm sorry, I'm looking here. They got R.J. Pearson from Bethune-Cookman, who's like 6 foot, 310 pounds in the middle of that defense, zero technique. Richie Haggerty, who's more of like an athletic 6'2", 260 pound edge rusher out of Southern Illinois, who was actually kind of being recruited late by Northwestern out of high school. And then Matt Lawson, another big 290 pound, 6 foot, you know, three technique out of Fresno State. So they got older in the middle of in the middle of the defense and as well as skill position wise on offense.
While we're on that topic, I was going to wait till later to ask you this, but we'll do it right now. Is there anybody coming back from the defense? You just mentioned how bad the stats were last year,
It was so bad.
but
Yeah.
is there a guy that you were like, all right, we were bad, but we at least had this guy and he's coming back
Yeah.
and he'll help be better this year? Who's that guy that Northwestern people probably already know him, but if you're not a
Yeah.
Northwestern fan and you're listening now, you're like, all right, I can circle that guy and I'm going to watch him
Yeah.
this fall. It's going to be
Yeah.
great.
100% circle Najee Story.
Okay.
Najee Story he's a 4-star recruit out of Ohio. Had offers from Alabama, had offers from Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame. Northwestern won out somehow.
That is really impressive.
Yeah, and he was a light kid in kind of a raw. I think he only started playing football in high school in like his sophomore junior year, so he was pretty raw, real long, real lanky, 6'3". He was 235 out of high school. Now he's like 285. He's like that hybrid. He can play inside, outside kind of guy.
Yeah.
But he got some playing time last year and was just Northwestern was unwatchable down the stretch, so not a lot of people saw. He is going to be in the backfield a lot, and he's only a sophomore, so he's a guy I would really look out for. Other than that, there's Aiden Hubbard, who is also in the same class as him,
Yeah.
also from Ohio. One of those guys that few Big Ten offers, bunch of MAC offers, like a West Virginia offer or something, kind of very solid player, 6'3", 6'4", 250 pounds, more of your athletic, like, Joey Bosa looking kind of guy, playing outside, 7 technique, outside the tackle, outside of tight ends and 11 or 12 personnel. And he is also like a fast twitch guy. Great get off, will be in the backfield a lot too. So those are the two younger guys.
Okay. I'll
And
look
then,
forward to that. I'm definitely going to circle number
Najee
95, no
Story, I'm
doubt.
telling you, we'll just pay attention to Najee Story.
I got you. I'm going to definitely do
Yeah.
that this year.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that part of the ball, talking about the defensive line, your offensive line this year, I'm not sure if I sent you this in the notes or not,
Yep.
but I was looking up on, I use Our Lads, it's called, ourlads.com,
Yeah.
and they have like the depth chart. And I was going
Very
straight down the
useful source.
offensive line, and it was, if I'm remembering this correctly, senior, sophomore. And that's kind of what if I could be wrong about that, but that's how they have it right now. And then you also have senior tight end. So when you're looking at the offensive line, it's just seniors across the board. And that's exactly what you want for a team that's trying to improve off of a pretty bad record from last year Do you
Yep.
think that offensive line is going to be better than it was last year? And are they going to be able to free up some holes and protect Ben Bryant, who we're going to talk about next?
Do you have that R lads depth chart still pulled up?
Yes, I do.
What does it read to you?
So it goes from right to left. It's Franks at right tackle, D'Antonio, Rather, Prebe, and Tiemann.
Oh,
Tiedemann.
Tiernan?
It says Tieman. Tiemann.
I think they meant Tiernan.
Okay.
So here's how I see it shaking up, and I think Zach Franks, who I think was on the right side of that depth
Yeah.
chart, is going to start at left tackle.
Okay.
He's the oldest of the group. I think with D'Antonio, who was at right guard possibly. If you
Yes.
D'Antonio is going to be at center.
Okay.
And then they have two dudes in the middle. Josh Preby, who it came in with Peter Skronsky, I think. Actually, he came in the year after Skronsky, but he's going to be at guard. And
Well, this website freaking sucks. Then, man, they got it all
yeah,
wrong.
well, here's the thing with Coach Anderson up there, dude. He is not afraid to move anybody around. I mean, if you asked any single recruiter, any college recruiter that was recruiting Pete Skronsky out of high school, he was a center, he was a center, he was a center, he was a center. Rashawn Slater, he didn't come back after the COVID fiasco, whether Big Ten was coming back or they're leaving, blah blah blah. Well, once Rashawn Slater was like, dude, I'm in the middle of training and I'm gonna go do that and go be a first round top 15 pick.
Yeah.
He took a true freshman that was supposed to be a center, and he put him at left tackle, and he started, 3 years at left tackle and became a top, the 11th overall pick.
Right.
And that's who's going to be at right tackle this year. Right tackle is a guy named Jordan Knox. He's a true.
They do
he's a
have
true
him listed right now. They just don't have him starting yet.
Yeah, he's a true freshman. He's going to start.
Okay.
And he's going to get the Rashawn Slater treatment, and he's going to get the Peter Skronsky treatment. He was a very late, like if you look at On3 or 24/7 or Rivals, went from unranked to like a very like top of the line 4-star recruit. Northwestern got in on him, and now he's what Northwestern calls he's an NWO boy. Like that's what Coach Anderson has those guys buying into, and he's going to be the guy on that offensive line.
Nice. All right,
Yeah.
so we'll have to keep an eye on that. I just
Yep.
I just thought it was interesting the way they had it listed at first. I was like, man, they got a lot of seniors. They should be pretty good this year.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a mix. It's going to be a mix, and I think talent wins out for the young guys.
Yeah. All right. Here's the guy that everyone wants to hear about. It's Ben Bryant, one of the biggest transfer portal names
Of the year
this year.
Yeah.
I think. PFF.
Sam Hartman.
What's that?
Right. Sam Hartman, probably number one.
Yeah.
I mean, Penix already transferred last year, so that doesn't count. I mean, he's probably a top 5 probably all around transfer.
Yeah. So he's coming in from people that don't know. He's coming in from Cincinnati. I was starting to say that I saw a tweet that PFF had him rated as the top quarterback in the Big Ten period this year, not like just in your division.
Yep.
He's rated really highly. What should we realistically expect from him? Can he be the best quarterback in the Big Ten?
So it's interesting. Like, first of all, Northwestern is like recruitment for like 4 or 5-star transfer quarterbacks. They during the Peyton Ramsey days, during the Ryan Helinski days. I mean, Ryan Helinski was a 4-star out of South Carolina. Hunter Johnson was, one of the best like high school arms in the last like 5 years. And however, the issue has been Mike Bajakian's got to figure it out with how they want to run that offense. And if it's any indication of how they've entered the portal and the guys they've recruited, I think Ben Bryant, who I think threw 21 touchdowns to 14 picks last year, 65-ish% completion percentage. I think I would be extremely bummed out if he didn't have a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio next year.
Yeah,
I'd be upset if they didn't have a winning record next year because of this move, and it's not a done deal that he's going to start either. By the way,
for sure. Like I think that he has to.
he really should. He really should. I've heard some things and seen some things that, I mean, it would be really really bad if he didn't start. It'd
Yeah.
be it'd be it'd be a failure if he didn't start. But it's not a complete given that he's going to start game one next year.
Wow.
Yeah,
I thought that that was a given at this point.
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, they have Brendan Sullivan, who's a very good player.
Yeah.
He was really banged up last year. Broke some ribs, had a banged up shoulder. But it's I don't think it's a 100% given. Although I think I would put as much money as I have in my bank account on it. I'm just saying I don't think it's very Fitz-esque to not let anybody know who's going to start until the first snap of the game. But
Is Helinski like for sure out the entire year? I know he's not supposed to be back this year, but is it like a situation where he's going to be healthy if something were to occur? Like they absolutely needed him late in the season, or is he just done this year?
I don't think he's done this year, health wise. I think he's done football wise, if that
Oh,
makes any sense. I don't think I think it's just, again, there's been a little bit of speculation. I think it just has a little bit to do with he's been really banged up. Northwestern has a sophomore that came in that was like this South Herald, like the a player of the year coming in, who came in as a freshman last year, who would probably play over him. His name's Jack Lausch. They have Brendan Sullivan,
yeah.
who's still a sophomore, and then you have Ben Bryant. I mean, things would. I wouldn't see any way that he would. I don't think he's going to suit up again for
All right.
play under center again for Northwestern.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Right behind what we're guessing at this point is Ben Bryant
Yep.
is the backfield. I'm wondering if Cam Porter is going to be the guy this year, quote, quote,
Yeah.
the guy. Is
Yep.
he it, or is it going
Yeah.
to be
Yeah. He's
anyone
it.
behind
He's
him?
the guy. He's the guy. He's a stud.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, he came in his freshman year, 2020. He actually relieved Isaiah Bowser, who I don't know if you remember at the time. Isaiah Bowser was like the dude at Northwestern. Kept fumbling.
Yeah.
He was always banged. His ankles were always banged up, and then he actually went on to UCF with Gus Malzahn the last couple of years, and actually had a really nice career. I think he actually got picked up. I saw.
Nice.
Yeah. But Cam Porter came on. I think he had 80 carries, 330 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4.5 a carry, or something like that. I'm not a mathematician, but he
You sounded like one.
right, right. But he obviously tore his ACL before. So that was in 2020. In 2021, he's getting ready for in spring ball. Blows out his ACL. I think it was on like a wheel route or something.
Mhm.
If you watch it's called The Foundation. Northwestern does a nice documentary series of each week throughout the season. They highlight his injury, unfortunately.
What's that on?
It's on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, so type in The Foundation. It is a really, really cool behind the scenes look at NU athletics, and specifically when football season's going on. It's really I cannot wait for that to be released. It's very
That's
interesting
awesome.
stuff. Well documented, well produced. It's really good work. But Cam Porter's the guy.
Yeah.
Then they have a guy named Anthony Tyus. Big dude, deceivingly fast too. He doesn't look like he's moving. He looks like he's moving in quicksand, and then he's through you. So there'll be kind of a 1-2 punch, and then they have a redshirt freshman, Joseph Hyman. He's out of Arkansas. More of a change of pace, very different from Cam Porter and Tyus. More lateral, can catch the ball a little bit out of the backfield. So can Porter too. And then obviously the fourth, that guy that's going to be in the backfield a little bit this year is going to be AJ Henning too.
Yeah.
I predict a lot of 21, 22 in personnel this year.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That'd be fun. That's what they
Yep.
should do. If
Yep.
you're coaching, if you're the offensive coordinator, what's his percentage share snap wise for Porter?
High.
Like 80?
I would say 60 or 70.
Okay.
And that's not counting special packages, but I could see they're going to run some Wildcat with Porter under center, which they did They threw him under Wildcat as a freshman, by the way.
Oh, nice.
True freshman. He'll be He'll be in the Wildcat with AJ Henning to his side, and it's going to get. They're going to be fun. They're going to be fun offensively. Defensively is going to be a different story.
I love that. They definitely should do that. All right, we talked about the defensive guys already, so let's jump into the schedule. I've been doing this like kind of 4 games at a time and then going through and kind of getting an idea of how the record's going to break down as the season's going on. But before I do that, I always stand by what I take on or my takes on Twitter. I have Northwestern at, let's make sure I got this right, 3-9.
3-9.
And I have Northwestern winning the first game at Rutgers.
Okay.
I have you guys beating Minnesota. I hate Minnesota this year, and they hate
Minnesota's
me
bad.
They don't like me right now, and that's fine.
And PJ Fleck, I have a personal vendetta against PJ Fleck, by the way. He went to Northern Illinois, my alma mater, took the head coaching job. Less than 24 hours later, takes a special teams job. I think it was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And being an alma mater, he was an alma mater too. He was sorry to interrupt, but that guy's fake energy right there. He's fake. He's fake.
And then
row the boats out of here, pal.
Tell me how you really feel about PJ. You're the second guy I've had on that absolutely hated him. By the way,
he's so fake. He's worse than James Franklin, but whatever.
And then obviously I have you guys beating Howard as well. I say that you're 3-9. I talked about it on my show when I released the records, and I released the records. When I talked about what I thought was going to happen, I think that Northwestern has a lot of toss-up games, Duke being one of them. Everyone rode my ass on Twitter because I said that UTEP was going to beat you guys, and I only picked that because...
Hey, UTEP can play ball, though.
That's what I said. I only picked that because I feel like early in the season...
Have you ever watched Northwestern in their non-conference games?
Yes.
At home against mid-majors?
I'm saying. Western Michigan?
Miami of Ohio, Northern Illinois, Western Michigan, Southern Illinois.
PJ Fleck in Western Michigan?
Yep.
That's your boy?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot he was there. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I had to bring that up. But then
I know.
Also,
thank you.
I think that I said even Wisconsin's like a toss-up game, and then of course
Wisconsin and Iowa are always toss-ups. Wisconsin, Iowa, no matter where. Wisconsin at Wisconsin's more of a win than Northwestern at Iowa.
Yeah,
but those two teams, it's a rock fight. Take the under, whatever the under is. Bet responsibly.
All right, let's go through this real quick though. 4 games at a time. Rutgers, UTEP, Duke, Minnesota. How do you have it playing out to start the season?
So Rutgers win, UTEP win, Duke. We never win against Duke at all. We will win against Duke.
Oh.
This is where it's going to get interesting. I've been beating Minnesota as well.
4-0.
I do.
Start the season.
Yep.
Man, if
I don't feel good about that at all. I don't feel good about
if you guys are 4-0, I'm clipping this and I'm posting it everywhere. Everyone's gonna be like, "This dude's a damn genius."
It's simply because I think they'll outscore. I think they'll outscore bad teams, and I think they'll get crushed by good defenses.
Okay. All right. Speaking of good defenses, Penn State's the next game, and then you have Howard, Nebraska, Maryland. The middle of the season, those middle 4 games. How do you see that playing out?
Penn State. They actually played Penn State well last year. They had, I think they turned them over 5 times in that wind rain game. Lost to Penn State. Win at home against Howard. Loss at Nebraska, and win at Maryland.
So that puts you guys at 6-2.
Yep.
And then you finish with, honestly, I feel like this schedule is more. The more I look at it, and the more I hear you talk, I'm getting a little bit more excited about Northwestern. But it's Iowa at home, and then at Wisconsin, Purdue at home, and then at Illinois. All like games that if they're 6-2 at that point, it really changes stuff.
And this is where they kind of tail off a little bit. What quarterback just transferred to Iowa?
McNamara from Michigan.
Brian McNamara or not?
Cade,
Cade McNamara.
right? His name's
Yeah,
Cade.
you're right. Iowa's going to be better offensively this year.
Yeah.
Um, Iowa beats Northwestern at home.
Well, they couldn't get any worse, by the way.
Yeah, no kidding. They averaged what, like 12 points a game
Yeah.
last year.
So that you're really going out on a limb saying
I
they're
know,
going to
I
be
know.
better.
I'm like, you book it. No, Iowa will be better than last year offensively. Um, Iowa, Iowa will beat Northwestern
Okay.
at Iowa, or sorry, at home. With the Badgers will beat Northwestern in Madison. Northwestern will beat Purdue. I think Purdue's going to be really bad.
Hmm.
I think they're going to be the worst team in the Big Ten this year.
Mm.
And actually, both Iowa, I think both Indiana teams are going to be bottom of the barrel. And then and Northwestern will lose at Illinois. Illinois, I think they'd win 3 in a row against Northwestern. By the way, Northwestern owned them over the last about 12 years, but I think Illinois got something going. Brett Bielema was solid coach. He's recruit. In fact, they just stole a pretty big recruit from the Lyons Township area where Ben Bryant's from. They lost a battle to University of Illinois. So I got him. I got him 7. Sorry, I said 7-4 earlier. Like I said, I'm not a mathematician. 7-5.
Okay.
7-5. Hey, they're going bowling, and they'll probably play Ole Miss in some bowl somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be. I feel like that is a huge. Well, two things actually to start. I picked them to win 3 games. I had this guy basically cussing me out on Twitter, and I was like, "That's triple the amount of games you guys won last year." First of all, so don't get too mad at me.
Right.
And then, what was I going to say? Secondly, there, I think 7-5 would be just a massive turnaround if that happens this year. Even 6 and whatever that would be, 6-6.
So here's the thing: they're all in. I don't know what they plan to do at quarterback next year. I don't know what they plan to do. I mean, again, AJ Henning's coming back. They have Bryce Kurtz, another receiver. They have some really most of their young talent that is coming through the system is all through the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
For example, just to give you an idea of where Northwestern football is kind of at skill position wise, they just got their first skill position commitment of the recruiting season yesterday, I think.
Oh.
They don't have a quarterback yet. They're trying to pry a guy away from UNLV. They don't have a running back yet. So if that kind of gives you an idea of where they're at, they need to adapt, and they need to adapt really fast, because I'm more optimistic than most Northwestern fans are.
Yeah.
But this is a year where they're going to I think they're going to go for it here, and they have to. I mean, they've won 3 games over the last 2 years.
Yeah. There's nothing. There's nothing to lose at this point.
But this reminds me a lot. This reminds me a lot of the 2019 Northwestern team. That Northwestern, they came out. They went 3-9. I think in 2019, they snagged Peyton Ramsey in the transfer portal from Indiana. They had a left tackle that was really young and obviously turned out to be a first round draft pick, and a really young secondary that was very athletic, and they played a lot of man coverage and were ready to ball. I think that's what it's going to look like this year. Yeah. Mark, I may be wrong. I'm wrong a lot about Northwestern. I've been a fan of them for 29 years. So I've been wrong a lot, but I feel good about that.
Tommy, thank you so much, man. You definitely have. My whole goal when I said I was going to start interviewing people was to have someone come on and either change my mind or get me even more excited. I have definitely got more excited about Northwestern football after this conversation. I can't wait. We got to watch a game together this fall, man.
Oh, dude,
absolutely,
100%. We
doubt
got
about it.
We got the Big Ten Network on again. I'm a huge Big Ten guy. I'm Big Ten ride or die. I love football. I do have to give a shout out, by the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know I'll be watching this. His name's he's Jonda on Twitter.
Oh, I know him. Yeah.
That's
so my boy, even though I've never met him.
He's a White Sox fan, and And he and I, anytime I'll get a like an idea of who's going to be committing or whatever, I'll maybe let him know a little earlier. And yeah, man, he's a good dude. Huge Cats fan, man.
Dude,
Huge Cats
he's
fan.
awesome, man. Like because I was on Northwestern hard during basketball season, and he was always either liking it or commenting something on it. So yeah, that's good people right there.
Yeah, and here's the deal. I was critical of him, and he was like shit talking me. I'm like, John, shit, man. I'm like, sorry, I'm like, sorry, and he was right. He's like, March Madness soon. I'm like, bullshit. And hey, man, they almost beat UCLA. So
That's right. That was a good
but
season.
man, it was great, man. This is a lot of fun. I love talking Northwestern football. So
Yeah.
anytime, man, we'll sit down in the cave, man.
Let's do it.
We'll watch it. We'll do some live reaction to some Northwestern UTEP game. Some real exciting shit, and
Hell yeah.
we'll go from there.
Hell yeah. All right, he's Tommy Hook on Twitter. Go give him a follow. Thanks again for coming on, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, once again, that was Tommy Hook, a.k.a. Thomas_Hook on Twitter. Go give him a follow. Great Northwestern information. He's going to be tweeting during the games. We might even be doing that together. We might be tweeting together during Northwestern football games this year. I would enjoy that. I think it's going to happen. We live so close to each other that there's got to be a time where we're going to be able to watch a game together. Maybe we'll even come up to Chicago or the Chicago area and watch a Northwestern game live. Who knows? Tommy, what do you think about that? Hit me up, man. Let me know what you think. Tomorrow is the grand finale, man. We've been waiting for it. Got a special guest. Not going to reveal who it is yet. I think that you're going to enjoy it, though. We're going to put a little bow on this gift of the preseason episodes that I've been giving you this summer. We're going to wrap it up, put it under the tree, and Christmas is right around the corner, baby. Football season's coming. See you in the future.